All right, you guys, welcome to my home gym. Today I'm going to be leading you through our first workout, and we're going to start with our warm up. So, all you need to do this warm up today is a glute loop, but we're going to save that for our last exercise of the warm up. Okay, so we're going to start with our hip circles, 10 per side. So, you'll go into a tabletop position, suck the belly button up and in. And then we're going to take the knee back, up and out, and then forward, okay, and create a big circle with the knee. We'll do 5 in this direction, and then switch directions. So now the knee comes forward to start, up and out, and then back, and 5 in the opposite direction. Okay, once you do your 10 total on this side, then you'll switch sides, again, making that big forward circle with the knee, nice and slow, and then switch that direction. So 10 per leg on your hip circles, 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction. Okay? Next one here, our bird dog. So same position to start, tabletop. Make sure the core is active so we're sucking that belly button up and in. And then slowly, you're going to take one foot back and the opposite arm forward. Okay, so I'll start with my left leg going back, my right arm coming up, squeeze and hold at the top, back to my tabletop, and then switch. Okay, so reaching opposite arm and opposite leg, fully extending out. Let's keep the eyes down on this so our spine is in a straight line. And we're going 10 total reps on that as well. Okay. Next, our dead bug, also for 10 reps. Flip over onto your back, and then you're going to squeeze the thighs in towards your chest. Take your arms up in the air, and then this is similar to our bird dog, but we're on our back now. So we're going to extend one leg and opposite arm. So my left leg and my right arm come down, hover above the mat, just about an inch, back to my dead bug position, and then switch. I want to go nice and slow here, and then really focus on the hip flexors of this extended leg, squeezing in with the hip flexors in the belly. Okay. And then switch, alternating. And you can either do 10 total or 10 per side on that, depending on how challenging this is for you. All right, next we're going to stay on our backs and we're going to do ankle flexion, both plantar and dorsey. Okay, so I'll lift up my foot. This is plantar flexion, pointing the toes down. This is dorsiflexion, pulling the toes up. Okay, so toes up, toes down. Just forward on this. You could also do ankle circles if you like for an extra kind of burn here. But we're just going forward and back on this. And then after about 10 reps on one side, I'll switch. The other leg comes up. Okay, plantar and dorsiflexion. Toes point and then pull towards the face. All right. Next, we'll do our seated wall slide. So find a wall that you can sit in front. Okay. And then I'll have my feet flat on the floor for this. I'm going to start in a W position. So my spine is all the way pressed up against this wall. My arms are in a W. So this is goalpost with the arms at 90. So W, we want the elbows to be below the shoulders. And then from here, I'm just going to take my hands straight up the wall and fully lock out my arms. Okay? So W position, straight up. I call this my Y position, although it's not really a Y, but you can think W, Y. So W, and then straight up the wall. So I'm not bringing my hands together. I'm just going straight up from that W. Okay, nice and slow here. Don't just focus on this reach part of this slide. You also want to focus on coming back down nice and slow into that W. Okay, slow and controlled. So that's my wall slide. That's going to be a good burn for the back of the shoulders, the posterior shoulder. Okay. And then next I have my glute loop series. So you will need your glute loop for this. So this is my glute loop here. There's 3 parts to this series. The first one, I'm gonna start at the edge of my mat here. I need some distance or some space that I'm gonna cover. I'm gonna place the band below my knees, okay? Take my stance out so that my feet are about shoulder width, and then I'm gonna quarter squat down by bending my knees, staying engaged here in my glutes. Okay, my feet are out, knees are out. I can place my hands on my hips. First exercise here is a side shuffle down and back. So I want to think about big step, little step, big step, little step, keeping tension on that band the whole time. Okay, so I don't want to lose that tension by taking a big step followed by a big step, right? Big step, little step, big step, little step. Okay, I would go all the way down to the edge of my mat, maybe 10 yards, and then go back. Also important here, my glutes stay activated the whole time by being in that quarter squat, and I want to keep my toes pointed straight forward. So I don't want my toes pointed out when I'm stepping. I want to be more closed off. Big step, little step, big step, little step. So that's the first part of the glute loop series. Next part is what's called a monster walk. So this is just a forward walk and a backward walk. Okay, I'm gonna take my feet outside shoulder width now. My knees are still gonna be over my toes, so knees are out. Okay, quarter squat down. Feel that burn in your glutes. Small step with the toes straight forward, maintaining that tension on the band. Small step, and I'm just forward walking. Okay, in a quarter squat. My glutes are starting to burn now, and then I would go back. Okay, so 10 yards forward, 10 yards back, and that's the second part of the glute loop series. And then the last part, I'm gonna lay down on my back and do 10 glute bridges, pressing my hips up off the mat into full extension. Now I'm gonna move the band above my knees. Okay, the band was below for the first 2 exercises. On this last exercise, the glute bridges, the band will be above the knees. Okay, lay back down, press my feet into the floor, lift my hips up, squeeze my glutes, my butt cheeks at the top, full extension in the hips, and then lower back down. So I'm keeping my knees out, my feet are about shoulder width. Press my feet into the floor, hips up, 10 glute bridges, and that's my glute loop series.